What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be building a team in NBA 2K, rebuilding it, and then duplicating it into the other conference, seeing if we can get them both to meet each other in the finals. We're running with the Atlanta Hawks, who have the fourth overall pick here, which is pretty good. We'll see, we're going to get a premier player, maybe like a Giannis from that. And yeah, I wanted to do this experiment because it seems like 2K kind of favors certain franchises. I always see the Dallas Mavericks, even with Kyrie injured, making the finals. And so we're going to see if two identical teams have the exact same results. All the same players. I'm going to put the same coach, the same settings. It's just going to be in the other conference. So let's see who we got in the draft and who we're going to be building around. It is Giannis. I'd say that makes sense. Shea, Jokic probably went above him. Not sure who the other player might have been, but definitely one of the top players in the league. So I think we're going to keep Giannis, Jamal Murray, Desmond Bane, Ty Jerome, Naz Reid, Tim Hardaway, some other role players here. And we're going to get started probably by thinking about trading Ty Jerome and seeing what type of value we can get for him, since we've already got a couple guards on the squad, Bane and Murray. Somehow the trade finder broke on me for about 3 minutes there, but it finally went through, and we're going to trade Ty Jerome in a second for Cam Thomas, make that slight upgrade to the team. There were some trades for picks there, but I figured it wasn't necessarily worth it. I do want to get a second big star to pair with Giannis, so I'm wondering if we use Cam Thomas, Jamal Murray, and maybe a first round pick here, whether we can really get another superstar or at least a star level player to pair with Giannis. Maybe in the backcourt. Desmond Bane's definitely not safe on the roster either, but I do like his kind of archetype of player alongside Giannis, so we could do a slight upgrade to Darius Garland. Probably not worth it at that price point, how much we're giving up. Şengün does not really work with Giannis, White, Henderson. Zach LaVine would be interesting, but not considerably better. I do like this, so it would pair Giannis with Miles Turner, who he's going to play with next season, which will be very interesting to see how that pans out. And Trae Young, who I think would be an amazing guard partner. I'm definitely considering this. I'm wondering if we can get away without that second pick. Okay, they do want the second first. Bojan Bogdanovic for Max Strus added in. I'd still prefer not to give up another first round pick. So we'll see if I can throw in a couple seconds. And if not, we'll probably just give them what they're interested in. I actually decided to put Trae Young into reverse trade finder and came up with this trade. It does involve us giving up Desmond Bane instead of Jamal Murray, but only one first round pick, Cam Thomas, and we get Miles Turner and Trae Young, and we still retain Jamal Murray to potentially use in another deal. So this is what our roster looks like right now, with Trae and Giannis heading things up. Jamal Murray now definitely on the chopping block, and I think we're going to look to pair Giannis and Trae with a big wing potentially. Jamal Murray and maybe Aaron Wiggins. Ended up finding this deal, which swaps Jamal Murray for Zach LaVine, and then Wiggins a first, and Bojan for Drew Holiday, who is still an 85 because I'm using last year's ratings. I'm really excited for 2K26, which is around the corner actually, but to make things easier, I'm still using last year. So Drew Holiday, I think, will be a great defensive partner in the backcourt for Trae Young. And then I think we can slide LaVine up to the 3, or he might be on the chopping block again. I really like Drew Holiday as a partner for Trae Young, though, in this 1-year challenge, especially since Trae Young's biggest flaw is his defense, so Holiday can kind of cover for that a little bit. Now, we have Naz Reid here, who isn't going to start with Miles Turner in the building, so we could see if Naz and Zach LaVine could get us a real elite third star here. I don't quite know if it's going to be enough with the trade finder, but we could also build our own trade. Norm Powell, I'm seeing a lot of the same names. Franz Wagner, now that would be a legit 3-man to pair. Or Jaren Jackson Jr., putting him at the 3 or the 5, or I guess sliding Giannis over to the 5. Zubac. I really am tempted by this Franz trade. I think for 1 first-round pick, moving from Zach LaVine to Franz, downgrading from Nas to Keldon Johnson, I think we're going to do that. That gives us a solidified top 3 guys in our starting lineup. I think Drew Holiday is a really good piece to hold on to. And then we'll see if Miles Turner can get upgraded. But that could be our starting lineup here. And I really do think it has pretty good balance. Tim Hardaway and some picks. Definitely don't want to do swap bests. I feel like those just mess things up in 2K, honestly. Let's see what we can get here for a pretty good role player. He did sign a minimum contract with the Nuggets this offseason, but I guess part of that is trying to win a ring as opposed to getting a small bag. And really, what are we looking for here? I guess 2 first-round picks is pretty good to trade our way back up to some bench depth. I don't know if we're going to get much better than first-rounders for this package, so I think we're going to do this deal for those 2 first-round picks and keep things pushing. So Keldon Johnson and firsts, maybe we'll give, let's say, 2 firsts. Let's see if we can get another good player, maybe a 6th man type, someone to come in for Drew Holiday and score a little bit, maybe initiate the offense if Trae Young is off the floor, although Giannis obviously will be doing some of that as well. CJ McCollum is not a bad option in this 1-year challenge. We don't really need Hartenstein. Jordan Poole is decent. We do a swap best and then give up 1 pick. So I'm considering Jordan Poole. Cam Johnson as a shooter, but we're giving up 2 firsts to get him. 2 firsts to get CJ, or 1 and a swap to get Poole. I think we'll start by getting Jordan Poole here, and then we'll put him back into the trade finder and see if we can get something even better. There wasn't much happening in the way of Jordan Poole trades, so what I did was I just grabbed some guys out of free agency and traded for some more first-round picks, some of which you can see here, and I'm just going to start trading up. So Quentin Post for Mitchell Robinson as a backup center is a good start. You know, Mitch isn't safe by any means, but yeah, so you can see here the few first-round picks I got from the Hornets, Knicks, Suns. This one here from the Bucks as well. The trade finder for some reason is super slow today, so probably going to be a lot of cuts in between trying to get the trades going. But we're looking for another wing, potentially. Harrison Barnes isn't actually that bad of an option. Another wing and another probably forward, if we're being honest, and then one more guard as well. And then we'll look into trying to trade up and improve some of these spots. So we have some shooters here that would be good. Strus, Herter. I think we'll go with Kevin Herter. I feel like Strus is better in real life, but might be interesting to have something a little different in game, you know, not always going with the quote-unquote better player. I'm going to do this trade, Jake LaRavia and a first for Karis LeVert, who is a decent role player, could find his place on my bench or could be flipped again. And we are eventually going to get Harrison Barnes on the team as well, trading away Trey Lyles, and I believe that was Julian Champagny for Harrison Barnes and a second. And so that leaves our team looking like this. So we've got Trey, Drew Holiday, Jordan Poole as sort of our backcourt trio with Karis LeVert, Franz Wagner, Kevin Herter, Giannis, Harrison Barnes, and then Miles Turner, Mitchell Robinson. So the last thing to do to kind of try to make this a championship-worthy team is just put all of our different players into the trade finder with some firsts and try to see if we're able to upgrade in a meaningful way. So Miles Turner is probably the worst starter here, so we'll throw him in with a couple first-round picks, see if there's a better center out there. I am kind of curious to see how they'll do together in Sim, because obviously they'll be playing together next season, as I mentioned before. Let me know what you think about that. Do you think Miles Turner and Giannis are going to be a good combination, or will they kind of struggle? So we could flip him for DeAndre Ayton with Toumani Camara, MPJ. Vooch and Jaden McDaniels is tempting because Vooch can do a lot of the things that Miles Turner can do in the offensive end. Defensively, it's a bit of kind of a mixed bag for both of them. Aaron Gordon, Tyler Hero is not a bad player to have coming off the bench. It would leave a gaping hole at center for us, but we could fill it. And then Ivica Zubac, a great center as well. I don't know how we would play with Giannis in real life, but I imagine in-game it would be pretty seamless. So the two trades I'm looking at are this Vooch trade or the Zubac trade. And I think for the sake of depth, I think I'm just going to do the Vucevic and Jaden McDaniels trade for Miles Turner and 2 first-round picks. And so that leaves our team in a pretty good spot. We got Giannis, Trae Young, Franz, Drew Holiday, Vooch. Off the bench, Jordan Poole, Jaden McDaniels, Mitchell Robinson, Karis LeVert, Harrison Barnes, Kevin Huerter. Probably all of them can be moved and upgraded. Let's see what Barnes and Huerter and a pick would get us, because now Jaden McDaniels will be occupying some of those 3-4 minutes, and I don't think we need quite so many bodies there off our bench. Obviously, their contracts aren't so great, so maybe not the most desirable assets, but here's a great option, and we're going to do this without thinking about it. Cam Johnson and Grant Williams, strengthening our roster here. So what it'll look like is probably Giannis at the 4, Trae, Franz, Drew, and then the last piece will be, if we can get something better than Nikola Vucevic off the bench, Cam Johnson, Jordan Poole, Jaden McDaniels, Mitchell Robinson, and Karis LeVert. I think that's looking pretty good. Let's just see if we can get Vucevic off of this team, and maybe someone with a bit more defensive solidity. We only have second rounders left because that protection backup on the Clippers pick is really screwing us over here, but it is what it is. And so we could just get Miles Turner back, which I'm tempted to do, because I kind of want to see how Turner and Giannis play together. Rudy Gobert as a defensive partner for Giannis would be absolutely scary, but I don't really want his offensive game touching my team. So we're just going to swap Vucevic back for Miles Turner, and that leaves our roster complete. I'll fill out the roster with some guys from free agency right now. That's pretty much the last thing that we have to do, and then we will set our lineup, set our tactics, and if you remember what the video is, it is duplicating this team into the other conference. So we'll pick a team that we're going to put them on, and Dean Wade wants way too much money. Javon Carter, do you want to play for this team? Great. Let's see how we're going to set things up. It's going to be Trae, Drew, Franz, Giannis, Miles Turner, with Cam, Jordan Poole, Jaden McDaniels, Mitchell Robinson, Karis LeVert, all coming off the bench. And I'm just going to do the minutes that 2K suggests here. I'm not going to mess anything up. Quinn Snyder, I'll make note of all of these tactics, and then we will decide which team to put them on right now. So let's just randomize things up. We need a Western Conference team, and we get one. It's going to be the New Orleans Pelicans, who in this sim file have Anthony Davis, Kobe White, Jalen Duren, etc. All these guys will be removed from the NBA, and instead they will be replaced with clones of the team I just created. And I'll be right back when that's done. So I've finally assembled the team. The Pelicans are the exact same now as the Atlanta Hawks. The only thing that's different is the players' contracts, because I couldn't be bothered to add the contracts back. but I did turn off player morale, so it should have no effect if they get upset that they're on an expiring deal. You can see all the players here. It's the exact same roster as the Hawks. And then I created a new coach who I gave the exact same attributes as Quinn Snyder. As you can see, we've got the team here, and the boosts will not go into effect. And then we can take a look at the coaching game plan. So for the Pelicans, you can kind of see the minutes distribution. I set it up the exact same offensive, defensive ratings, same statistics for the coaching, same focus, tempo, rebounding, all that stuff. And we're going to see what happens between these two squads if they're able to, have a very similar record and potentially meet each other in the finals. I'm hoping Giannis can kind of carry us. So we're on the Pelicans here, and I guess I haven't really thought about the fact that we're not going to be able to make mid-season trades because everything's set up in such a way that the teams are the exact identical versions of each other, so that'd be probably too complicated. The team is not doing well to start out, 10-10. Let's see how the Hawks are doing. The Hawks are 14-7. So far, definitely sort of proving the theory that there are differences between identical teams, that there are certain favorites that 2K has. Obviously, it's a simulation. I'm just doing one season's worth. And if you were to really try to run an experiment like this, you'd have to do a huge amount of trials to get it right. I'm sure there's variables that I didn't think about, but it is interesting. So we're back on the Pelicans, 15, 16-13, 17-13. They're doing a bit better here. Not amazing though. The Hawks, however, 20-12. Okay, so they're within 2 games of each other now. Let's get ourselves to the trade deadline and take a look at what the statistics are, if they're very similar for the two teams. Maybe one has Giannis going off, one doesn't. That would kind of be an interesting thing to see. And while I'm waiting here for my game to stop being insanely slow, I did want to bring up the middle of fantasy football season, and I'm sure a lot of you, if you're watching this, you're probably interested in fantasy football as well. So I've got my draft coming up as I record this in 2 days, but when I post it, it'll probably be even closer, or I will have already had the draft. So if I've already had it, I'm going to put my team in the video here on screen, but leave a comment with what your team is in your league settings, because I'm curious, people out there, if you're excited for the new fantasy football season. So we're finally here at the trade deadline. It's been a very long sim for me. It has taken quite a while to get to this point. Let's take a look at the standings and see where our teams are. So the Hawks, who started the season well, are 29-22, and then the Pelicans are now 32-20. So the Pelicans have swapped, and they're now 3 wins better than the Hawks. They're averaging 117.6 to 115 points per game, 120 to 115. So the points against are the... Oh, wait, no, that's the cap. So yeah, the points against are almost identical, 118.3 to 117.6, and then 115.1 to 115. So the teams are pretty much the same as each other. Let's see how they look in terms of their stats. So Giannis is not putting up amazing numbers for his standards, but obviously he's being asked to carry less of the load here with a really good team around him. Trae Young, 20 points. Franz, 15. Drew Holiday putting up 6.5. Jordan Poole with 15 off the bench. Jaden McDaniels not playing too well for the Hawks. Cam Johnson playing well. Miles Turner playing well as well. And Karis LeVert with good shooting splits. So let's go over to the Pelicans and see how they're looking. Giannis is a little bit better on this side of things. Trae Young also scoring a few more points. Franz looks about the same. Drew was about the same. Cam Johnson not shooting as well. Miles Turner not shooting as well. Jordan Poole not scoring as much. So yeah, it's an interesting split of some similarities and differences. Let's sim to the end of the season and see if these teams can potentially go on a bit of a run, because so far neither of them looks like title favorites, but as we see the Pelicans go on a little bit of a winning streak here, I think they're good enough to go on a run in the playoffs if they make it that far, and I would love to see the two teams meet each other in the finals. Season just wrapped up. We've got Luka Doncic winning MVP, Stephon Castle Rookie of the Year, Josh Hart Sixth Man, Victor Depoy as usual, Amen Most Improved, Book with Clutch Player, and we did end up winning Executive of the Year for the Hawks team, and we get a little spoiler, went 49-33. So not terribly amazing. We've got the Pelicans version of Giannis and the Hawks version of Giannis both on All-NBA second team. The Pelicans version a few spots higher in the voting, it looks like, and that's it for All-NBA. The Pelicans version of Giannis also on All-Defensive first team, with the Hawks version on All-Defensive second team. So yeah, the Pelicans version of Giannis was slightly better for some reason. Maybe it was just the conference or the competition, but interesting to note. No other awards for our guys there. And let's take a look at the standings to see where we ended up in both conferences. So the Pelicans, 51-31, third seed in the West. And we saw that the Hawks were 49-33, and they're also the third seed. So pretty even matchup so far. It doesn't look like there's any sort of like significant difference between the two teams. I am going to shorten their rotations. I'm just going to do exactly what the game tells me to do for each of them, and we'll do the same for the Hawks. With the same coaching style, it should kind of give basically the same adjustments, although there may be some differences because the coach does adjust based on people's performance if they're performing differently. So first round, the Pelicans are going up against the Spurs, and the Hawks are going up against the Pistons. So let's simulate through this and see. Both teams are able to make it through just about. It was a difficult series, it looks like, for the Hawks against the Pistons, and also a tough series for the Pelicans against the Spurs. Now, let's see about the Pelicans versus the Warriors. See who the Warriors have, because this is a fantasy draft. So we've got John Morant, Shaedon Sharpe, Paul George, Jabari Walker, and Domantas Sabonis. Not a bad team going up against our guys. And then we can see who the Brooklyn Nets have as they're going up against the Atlanta Hawks. Devin Booker, Austin Reeves, Risa Shea, Tara Eason, and Day'Ron Sharpe. In all honesty, I think our team should be better than both. We did lose to the Warriors. Obviously, that got simulated through here. We can maybe simulate one game at a time here. I'm assuming it's going to alternate schedules. So both teams lose their first game. And that's a second loss for the Pelicans. John Morant kind of torching them here. Giannis only scoring 15 in game 2 of a playoff series. I feel like that has maybe never happened before. The Hawks, meanwhile, they do win a game, and it's Devin Booker that they're going against. And they're Giannis, 38, 15, 9, 5 stocks on amazing shooting. So it looks like maybe the Hawks Giannis is coming to play in the playoffs in a way that the Pelicans Giannis is not. Let's see if they cannot avoid going down 3-0. It was another mediocre performance from the star man, John Morant, and Paul George, surprisingly, the opponents who are really putting them to the sword. Can the Hawks go up 2-1? They can. I think we're going to end up seeing our Pelicans team going out here, and they get swept by the Warriors. So obviously the teams aren't playing the exact same teams, but it looks like the Hawks are going to make it one round further than the Pelicans, and that they do. They're going to take on the first seeded Chicago Bulls, and let's see who the Bulls have on their roster. It's Jalen Suggs, Jordan Goodwin, Norm Powell, Kawhi Leonard, who team up back again after their LA days, and DeAndre Ayton. Now, Kawhi must be doing a bit of a carry job here because this team is not fantastic, but they were the clear number 1 seed in the conference. So we're going to hopefully we take game 1. Kawhi does do his usual thing, but Giannis, Jordan Poole, Trae Young are better in this instance. Game 2 also goes to the Hawks. Trae Young this time, 30 and 12, grabbing 0 rebounds. Go up 3-0. Pretty good start. Like I said, I didn't think that Bulls team was actually better than us. This time it's Giannis carrying the day. And I think we can simulate through and we make the finals. And wouldn't you know it, that Warriors team who knocked out the Pelicans are going to be facing our Hawks in the finals with Ja Morant winning Conference Finals MVP and Giannis winning it for us. And this is going to be interesting because this is an exact replication of the series that the Pelicans lost. And maybe this Warriors team is just too good. They go up 2-0 and Shaedon Sharpe is carrying. They seem to have some sort of magical defense because we haven't really been able to score in either series. Maybe it's Paul George, Case and Wallace locking in, but it's kind of an odd team. We go down 3-0 and the Warriors have swept both of our teams. So in the end, the Hawks did win in this little experiment of duplicating a team between the Hawks and the Pelicans, but we couldn't top the Ja Morant-led Warriors. Let me know if you enjoyed this experiment, if I should do more things like it. Leave a comment, and peace.